Hello and welcome to the Australian Ghost Whisperer. I am James Jennings with Caterina Ligato. Hello, Caterina.
Hello, James.
How are you doing?
Good.
Good. Now, today we are actually going to talk about a bit of a heavy topic. So we've recently done an episode on what it's like to die because Caterina had quite an amazing near-death experience, and just the topic of death made one of our audience members contact us and ask the question about suicide and what happens to people who commit suicide, because some religions will tell you that if you commit suicide you go to hell, which is a pretty heavy thing. So yeah, it's a pretty rough topic, but let's talk about it. Have you had many people come to visit you who've talked about family members who have committed suicide?
Absolutely.
Okay.
An endless amount, sadly.
Okay.
And the biggest issue that they come to see me about is that they have been told by, and I'm not putting any judgment on religion, of course, that they're going to go to hell, they won't return to God, or that their souls are damned, and or they're going to be lost, all of which is not true. Again, as I have explained on many of the videos, the spark, we are as God, we are part of divine creation, and divine creation exists within us. It exists within us at the time of our death. Now, sadly, some people get to a point in their life where they feel they cannot go on for whatever reason. They feel that they cannot continue existing on this physical earth, and it is really sad. It's heartbreaking that obviously they have come to that decision to take their own lives. Now, God is love. God does not judge. God will still be there for that soul, because it is a part of God. No matter, it's like, your own children. If you're a parent, no matter what your child does, you will still love your child.
Yeah, that's true.
If they take a path of destruction, you will still try to help them and rear them back in. The same thing with God. When a person commits suicide, there is a calling out to their sacred soul family, and the sacred soul family will come in and help to be there for that person in its last moments, no matter whatever they do, whatever action they take to end their lives, there is always help there that will be there to help them to secure their journey, to return to love. Those souls generally, and this is something Spirit have shown me many times, they are taken to a realm of healing where they are able to heal, because a person who takes their own life has lost a lot of its own life force. Their souls have become quite fragmented, and therefore they will feel as though they are in pieces. They don't feel whole. So when they die, they will go into a realm of healing where they can have the help that is needed to bring together, like a soul retrieval, to heal and repair the light body, the divine spark. All of this is healed, and they still have the opportunity to continue upon their journey to rejoin Creator God, to return. Whatever that soul needs, it will always have the help. God is not there at the gates going, you can come in, you can't, you're bad, you're good. This is just makes me so mad. It's absolute bullshit. That's how angry it makes me, because again, religions that condone and condemn and judge are just creating more problems on this planet, separating people, keeping them in a state of guilt, keeping them from feeling whole and a part of God. They are encouraging them to believe that God is something outside of them that they need to be on their knees to, and none of this is true.
Why do you think some religions, and I'm not pointing fingers, but some religions have built up that
In order to control the masses.
so it's a control issue.
The more you control, the more you're going to have people coming to you. Control is a way of steering people, of keeping them locked into a system.
And that derives from ego, right?
Absolutely.
Because that's one of the things I have never been able to reconcile with religions, because I think every religious practice and faith, or most of them, have elements of them which feel like they are absolutely spot on. That is a spiritual truth. That is absolutely right. But there's also elements that pop in where you're like, no, that's not. Yeah. That doesn't feel like a spiritual truth. That feels like it's a distortion. And I've always thought to myself, all religions are really humankind's flawed interpretation of the divine. Because we are living our earthly lives, and in some ways we have been disconnected from our full divine knowledge.
That's right.
To actually step in and say, I have the full divine knowledge, I'm the master of this. That again, it's ego. Ego steps in. This is how it is. This is what God thinks. And that's, I guess, the human ego stepping in, saying that they have a greater understanding than others when they can't. I feel like it's a fool's game for us in our human incarnations here on earth to go, I fully and wholly understand the divine. Would you agree with that?
I totally agree with that, yes. And many of the religious books have been distorted and rewritten to actually create the guilt, the control. We must again understand that everything on this planet is a distorted reality of the true organic earth that God created. Because it has been taken over by dark forces for the purpose of greed, for the purpose of control, for the purpose of keeping humans as slaves, and feeding the dark forces the energy that they need to continue to exist. So they have influenced religion to continue to hold people in a place of guilt, of feeling that they are not good enough to feel a connection to God, that they have to go through someone else that is more equipped to bring God into their life. And that's not true at all.
And again, it's that illusion of separation, because any religion that's going to say God is this separate entity here, and you as a human, must worship this God that's separate to you. Like, to me, the truth and what seems like a radical idea and revolutionary idea, even though it's not, it's just the truth, is that we are God. We are God.
Yeah, we cannot be separated from God.
Yeah.
It's just like we have a set of parents and we cannot separate from them.
No, exactly.
I mean, you can separate and decide never to see them again, but you were still born from the womb of your mother.
Yeah.
And, so you cannot...
That connection's never broken.
Exactly.
Well, that's the way I see it, but it shouldn't be. To me, it feels like the most natural thing in the world. Like we are God. We are. That's different to I am God. It's not saying
we are God-like beings.
It's we. It's inclusive of everything. We are God.
Yes, everything on our planet that is organic, nature.
We're an expression of God. Maybe that's more...
all of that is an expression of God, and everything has the divine spark of God within it. Everything that is alive and breathing has got the divine spark of God. So if somebody makes that decision to end their lives, they are still an expression of God, and God will still take them into its heart, into God's heart. And though there is a beating heart, God's beating its love down to us all the time. no matter what the circumstances are.
Yeah. Well, circling back to what we began with, which was the topic of suicide, you mentioned to me before we started recording today that another thing that people come to see you about, again, a very controversial, not that it should be controversial, but a topic that makes a lot of people uncomfortable is abortion. So you've had people come to you in a similar way asking about...
Feeling bad that they were in a situation where they needed to have an abortion, and they many women carry so much of that guilt through life with them. And I need to sometimes reassure them that the decision to have an abortion is never an easy one, but that soul is aware that it will not fully incarnate into this physical realm. So that soul has also agreed to come in for this short period of time to experience perhaps something that it needed to finish off. So again, we come into this earth with sacred soul families, and we're here to help each other within that family of souls with whatever it is we need to learn in order to evolve. And so therefore, that soul that is aborted is still part of your soul family, and it needed a particular time to experience whatever it needed to experience. Look, of course, if women are using abortion as a contraceptive, then that is not, that's not very good. But when you are in a position where I have seen women that were in a position where they were homeless, broke, no money, or just emotionally incapable of having a child, then, again, you can work through that and resolve and heal it. Mother and the soul can both be healed.
Yeah. Is there a way, you think, for people who are very dogmatic about their religious beliefs to... I don't know what I'm trying to...
It's very hard, yes, to reach them.
Yeah, that's what I want to ask.
Yeah, I think with people, they can only be reached at the level where they're ready to be reached. It's really difficult. It's like you can't take a person from kindergarten and put them in high school because they're just not going to understand a thing.
Yeah.
So I feel that everybody is on their own personal journey, and and they have the ability to kind of connect with the truth of who they are at their own personal growth that's comfortable for them. Because you can't take on what you're not able to process and feel, and you can't rush through this either. It's not something you can rush through. You need to embody the presence of God. You need to embody the wisdom that comes from your relationship with the divine spark within. You embody that, you become that.
I mean, I'm sure that some of the things that we're talking about, some people would find it probably controversial. Some people will probably get angry about it. Like, I'm sure there are people who would be upset about it. But
of course, I can only speak my truth and my wisdom and my understanding of what I feel is correct. And I'm not here to convince anybody or that I'm correct and they're wrong, but I can only speak from my own personal experience and what I have been shown throughout all of my life, where I have been given the opportunity to visit the realms of healing. So my own knowledge and the things that I speak about have become my own truth because of my ability to see beyond the physical world, where I have been given the privilege, and I feel that everyone can be given a privilege of going beyond the physical world, but you need to be prepared and ready, and you need to be in your heart to fully experience the divine harmony that exists outside of this. Once you go out of this 3D planet and all the matrices that are over this planet, you experience the true organic prime creator God, because again, there is a false God running this planet also.
Can you tell us a bit more about that, the false god? Because that's an intriguing concept. Like, what is the false god?
The false God is, because again, the duality, the false God is, well, some people would refer to it as the Antichrist. Okay, the AI God, but there is a false God, and unfortunately many people that are very inexperienced sometimes trying to meditate, connect with guides, will end up connecting in with the false God and the false angels, the false guides. So this is where it becomes quite distorted, and they get themselves into all kinds of problems where they are, you know, guided in the wrong direction.
Okay.
So again, when you must, for me, when I receive information, I always sit in my heart and ask, does this feel correct? Does this resonate with my heart? Because within my heart is my divine spark. And that's how I have come to understand the things that I understand.
So if people are, I guess, being deceived by, let's say they're meditating and they're connected to the false god or false guides or whatever, are there any warning signs or ways to actually go to know that that's what's happening?
I think the moment that any type of being comes in and begins to tell you what to do, then you have to cut off from it. Because guides, wisdom is there to guide you. You must always check in with your heart. The truth is within. First connect. I always say to people, before you go off trying to connect with guides and angels and what have you, learn to connect with your heart. Learn to hear and feel the voice of God within your heart. Explore within, because within is everything you need, and from there you can expand and grow. But when you begin going outside of yourself and connecting with guides and angels or whatever it is, they're going outside of themselves, and that's where it's dangerous, because then you've gone outside of yourself and you are then a predator to anything that's out there that wants to create havoc in your life, misguide you.
Yeah. I feel like some people might find like the concept of being in your heart or connecting to your heart might sound a bit abstract. Like, is there... how do people do that? Is there a simple
your
answer?
heart, heal your pain first.
Okay.
Again, if you are filled with pain and unresolved issues, you're not going to be able to connect with the true spark within your heart.
So the light's descending on us.
The light's descending on us. So the first point of call is heal.
Okay.
And then you will find that the rest will happen naturally. Yes.
I have a question.
Oh, we have a question from our lovely crew member Eduardo. Eduardo, yes.
Yeah, when you talking about like getting into your heart, and JJ asked you how we do this. Sometimes I heard breathing is part of that tool where we can use to connect to your heart. So maybe that, I don't know.
Beautiful point, Eduardo.
Okay, so
yes.
Eduardo has asked, for anyone who couldn't hear him, Eduardo has asked if breathing techniques can be one way to connect to our heart. So breathing and also I believe meditation as well.
Yes. So how I teach people is place your hands over your heart, close your eyes, and just breathe. Breathe into your heart. Breathe out the pain. Breathe out the blockages, and feel yourself breathing in love, the divine life force within your heart. Bring it into your heart, and sit in that presence for as long as you feel comfortable. And it will take some time, depending on where you are at in your life and how much you have healed and resolved. But eventually you will have this moment where you will feel this light turning on. I remember the first time, it was like this light had switched on inside of me, and I felt this pouring out of love, and I felt like I was with my Creator. I had finally found what I had been searching for. This is the cliche of people are always looking. What we're looking for is within us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is when you get to that point, then you won't really need to look anywhere else, because you will have all you need within you. It's true, the kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven lays within us.
Yeah.
It's just that we haven't spent the time to go within
Yeah.
and find it and work hard to get there. And it does take time, and you do have to work hard to get. But once you do, there is a fountain of unconditional love that you will not experience anywhere else or with anyone else in this world.
Yeah, and that should be the biggest. I was going to say, my brain's starting to go.
The journey is, this is the biggest breakthrough, and this is where we as humanity, we must return to our hearts. We must return to love in order to wipe out the darkness, in order to stop feeding the darkness, in order to transform our planet and our lives. It's really simple, but it's going to take effort, commitment and dedication.
Well, in one of our future videos, we should do some connecting with your heart meditations, which
Absolutely love to do that.
I imagine people would be interested in. So that's something we can sort of focus on and maybe give some people some techniques to do that.
100%.
I mean, you just did, but
that was a short version.
Yeah,
Yes.
We can maybe
We'll
lead
take people on a journey.
Yep.
Yes.
That sounds good.
Wonderful.
All right. So, well, we can look forward to that in the future. And I guess we'll wrap up this episode there and say thank you very much for joining us again. Please like, subscribe, follow on whatever platform you're listening to or watching us. And thank you. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you. And don't be hard on yourself. Enjoy the journey. If you are now feeling inspired to heal, take your time. Be gentle with yourself.
Good advice.
Thank you. Blessings.